Hello and welcome. My name is Adam Wronski, and thank you for joining us today for a virtual tour. A little bit more about me before we get started. I'm a current senior at Ripon College, a biology major and a chemistry minor. In addition to my academics, obviously I work in our admission office. I've also worked as a sustainability intern for 2 years, as a lab assistant for several years in our biology and chemistry departments, a resident assistant for 2 years, in addition to working in our Franzine Center for Academic Success. I also am vice president of one of our fraternities on campus, president of our outdoors club, president of our biology honor society, and vice president of our ultimate frisbee club, among other things. So I kind of do it all around campus. To start off on our virtual tour today, we'll look at the Harwood Memorial Union, which is this building right here. This is kind of the center of our campus, and it features the iconic clock tower that's part of our actual official college logo. In Harwood Memorial Union is Great Hall, The Spot, WRPN Radio, College Days, our Center for Diversity and Inclusion, the MLK Lounge, Student Support Services, and the Mail Center. We'll get into most of those in a little bit more detail later. This big green space out here is the Memorial Lawn. During the warmer months of the year, this is a great hangout spot for students. They'll be out here playing ultimate frisbee, string up hammocks between the trees, all of the typical college activities that you would expect. WRPN and College Days, to briefly highlight them, are housed right underneath the clock tower here. They're both student-run organizations, so the radio show, anybody can host one of those. And College Days, anybody who has any interest in writing can join and write for College Days. It's actually the oldest continually published newspaper in the entire state of Wisconsin, so a pretty cool thing to be involved with. Additionally, students actually get credits from the college for being part of College Days. So right underneath the clock tower is Great Hall, which is our biggest event space on campus. So this serves a variety of different purposes, but is primarily for some of our larger events. So when we have a guest speaker, musician, whatever it may be, if it's a larger event, it'll generally be held here. One of my personal favorite events that takes place here every fall is our community potluck, which usually takes place the night before classes start. The 8 or so Ripon area churches, all of their members get together and basically from one end of this room to the other, just lay out like every kind of hot dish and dessert you could ever imagine. And it's a great way for students to, get one last home cooked meal before the year truly starts, but also start to get to know some of the community members that they'll be spending the next 4 years with. Directly below Great Hall is the Spot, which is kind of our like fast casual dining option on campus. So kind of more quick grab and go type items. So like burgers, wings, salads, a little more quick items. And we'll cover the rest of the dining options later, but this is a great option for, some of our athletes or musicians maybe who have, a class on upper campus and then maybe only 20 minutes to get to lower campus for that rehearsal or practice. You can just come through here quick, grab something to take with you for later or for just on your way down. This is also designed to really be a multi-purpose space. So obviously there's pool tables, TVs, dartboards, things like that spread out across the area. And it's also just in general a nice hangout spot. There's also a big stage up at the front of the room. So throughout the year, we bring in various musicians, comedians, and other visiting performers. One of my personal favorite events that takes place each spring is our Greek Week lip sync battle, where basically all the fraternities and sororities just get up on stage and make massive fools of themselves lip syncing along the songs. Continuing on from the Spot, we come to our Center for Diversity and Inclusion, which is kind of the hub for our different diversity groups on campus. So we offer everything from our Asian Student Association and Black Student Union to Queer Straight Alliance and La Unida and everything else in between. This space is primarily an organizing space for them, but it's also a great quiet study lounge. It's kind of located in the middle of campus. And all of those organizations are really active both on and off our campus. So a great example of an on-campus activity that the Black Student Union does is their soul food dinner each fall. That usually 200 or 300 students show up to, kind of showing just how popular it is. But there's a lot of opportunities as well with like the Asian Student Association to get off campus and maybe go explore some of the diverse neighborhoods in Milwaukee or Chicago. So like I said, there's always opportunities on campus and off campus. Next up, we come to Bartlett Hall, which houses some of the more administrative offices of the college, including our residence life office, dean of students, and office of the registrar. The office of the registrar, in particular, is quite important because this is where you'll come each semester to register for your classes. So each semester we offer, probably a couple hundred different classes total to choose from, and especially coming in as a freshman, that can be kind of hard to navigate and figure out. But one of the great things that we do is that from your first day on campus, you'll be assigned an academic advisor. So that's a professor either in your declared area of interest or your declared major or minor. And they're basically there to guide you through your entire time at Ripon. So at a bare minimum, you just need to check in with them once a semester and they'll make sure that, you're on track to graduate on time, you're doing all the classes that are required for your major, but they're also there to make sure that, you're branching out and getting the full Ripon College experience. So if you come in as, let's say, a biology major like me, they're going to encourage you to, branch out, maybe take a history class, maybe take a politics class, just really see what's out there while you have this great opportunity to kind of explore everything. On the upper levels of Bartlett Hall are our health services. So we have a nurse who's there 5 days a week. She can do things like, give you your flu shot, test your strep throat, basically any minor medical thing that you might need taken up. You can get it done right on campus, either for free or very low cost. We also have two full-time counselors on staff who are available 5 days a week. They take both drop-in appointments and regularly scheduled appointments. So we have some really great opportunities to meet our students' needs, whatever they may be. Before we move on and take a look at some of our academic buildings, I'll talk to you a little bit about our Catalyst curriculum. So, Catalyst is kind of our version of a first year studies or gen ed program that you might have heard of at some other schools. And up until I actually started at Ripon 4 years ago, we basically had the same kind of gen ed model where you came in and you took, an English 101, a math 101, whatever it may be, just to kind of get that core education. But we really realized that that wasn't working for our students because, nobody comes to college excited to take English 101. And it wasn't working for our professors either. No professor is excited to teach the same old recycled introductory math course that they've been teaching for the last 30 years. So when we realized that this wasn't working, we reached out to a whole bunch of employers across the entire country, everything from little family businesses in downtown Ripon to Fortune 500 companies like Oshkosh Corporation and Target. And we basically asked them, what do you want to see in our graduates where they can go from graduating from Ripon on May 17th and going to work for you on May 18th. And they don't need, extra school or any kind of extra training. They're just going to be successful in their role right away. And what it basically came down to was the ability to communicate effectively, both written and orally, and also the ability to work in diverse teams. So what we've really tried to do with our Catalyst curriculum is rebuild our entire freshman curriculum around that. Incoming students are now only required to take these five Catalyst courses, one each of their first 5 semesters. Your freshman year, you start out with a writing and quantitative reasoning course. Your sophomore year, you follow that up with an intercultural competence and interdisciplinary studies or integration course. And then you cap it all off your junior year with a Catalyst capstone project. And the capstone project is kind of the culmination of the entire experience. The way that basically works is you're divided into a group of 5 students, all diverse majors. So my group was me, a biology major with an exercise science major, an economics major, a athletic training major, and I believe a philosophy major as well. And we basically spend the entire semester in these diverse groups working on some kind of big real world problem. So my group, for example, chose pharmaceutical water pollution, but other groups did rural poverty or climate change. So kind of these big ideas. You basically spend all semester working within your group with faculty across campus, with various government and non-government organizations to come up with some kind of real implementable solution. Then towards the end of the semester, so usually at some point in April, we actually cancel all classes for a day and students go and present their research in front of most of the faculty and student body of the college, which I can tell you from my personal experience, after you've had to present research in front of like 40 professors and like 150 students, you'll really never be scared to, speak up in class or give a presentation ever again. But this is a really great program to prepare our students, whether it's for the workforce, graduate school, whatever it may be that comes after Ripon for them. The other really unique thing about this is that any of those first four courses can be taught by any professor on campus. So you could take a writing course with one of our chemistry professors. You could take a quantitative reasoning course with one of our politics professors. The options are really endless. And this allows us to offer courses that are really interesting and fresh to our students and also interesting for our professors to teach as well. So one of my favorite Catalyst courses I took was a writing course that basically compared Shakespeare's plays to modern hip hop. Another really popular one with students is a writing course that focuses entirely on Beyonce and her music. So just kind of goes to show you the diversity of options there are within the Catalyst curriculum. Additionally, because it's only 5 courses, students have plenty of time to branch out, do multiple majors, multiple minors. So you can really do it all within your 4 years at Ripon. So to move on to the academic side of things in terms of buildings at least, we'll begin with Far Hall. So Far Hall houses all of our different science programs and most of our campus labs. So on the main floor at ground level is the biology department, the floor below that is physics, and then the top floor is our chemistry department. Although we're a pretty small college, we still have a lot of the great resources of a large university, especially when it comes to lab equipment. Our students get to work basically from day one on campus with advanced mass spectrometers. We have a laser lab, so all kinds of really cool technology that a lot of students at bigger schools might not even get to look at until their senior year. And we very much emphasize that from day one, our students will get hands on experience with these. Given the small size of our school, our average student to faculty ratio is 14 to 1. So we really make sure that students get that individualized attention, both during lecture, but also in labs, especially when it really matters. To kind of speak to that, all of our professors' offices are basically directly across the hall from the classrooms and labs that they teach in. So our students always have basically immediate access to faculty. Almost all of our faculty are here on campus every day from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. And they're always happy basically anytime that they're not teaching to have students drop in, talk about whatever it may be. I probably visit my academic advisor 3 or 4 times a week, even though I don't have class with him. And we'll chat about, some academic related things, but sometimes it's literally just, a good soccer game that we watched over the weekend or something like that. Additionally, Ripon College is completely undergraduate students, which means every course is taught by a faculty member. There will never be any TAs or anything like that teaching your courses. The last thing that I should point out in Far Hall is that it houses Bear Auditorium, which is our largest lecture hall. We only really have 3 traditional lecture halls on campus. The biggest ones, they're generally reserved for introductory courses, so things like intro bio, intro chem, intro psych, just classes where there's a lot of people taking it to kind of see, is this something that I want to pursue as a major or minor? Is this something that I'm even passionate about in the first place? Even with that, though, those courses never get usually above 60 or so people. And one of the great things that we do is that we split up our lab sections for all those courses. So even if you may have 50 or 60 people in lecture, your lab will probably only be 10 to 15 people, which really makes sure that you get that individualized attention, especially when it matters, when you're learning techniques that you'll need, for the rest of your time at Ripon and when you get out into the workforce or graduate school. The next academic building we come to is Todd Wehr, which is actually our largest classroom building on campus, and it houses quite a few diverse academic departments, including psychology, business management, finance, education, mathematics, and computer science. It also, in this bottom right picture here, has one of our largest classrooms on campus, probably only smaller than Bear Auditorium that we were just talking about, but like I mentioned, these larger classrooms are generally reserved for introductory courses, and even when we have those introductory courses in there, it's almost never full. Like it says on the slide right here, our classroom size in the 2019 to 2020 academic year is on average 17 students per class, especially when you get to your upper level senior classes and it's really narrowed down to within your major. You can expect classes to basically always be between 10 and 20 people. I've had classes during my time at Ripon as small as 2 people even. So next, as we go along the top part of Ripon's campus, we'll see the 3 original buildings of the college, starting with East Hall, then Middle Hall, which is now called Smith Hall, and West Hall. So East Hall was originally a dorm, but it now houses our politics and government department, history department, and global studies department. It also has the little theater within it, which is shown in this bottom right picture. This is a large classroom, but generally it's actually just used for presentations and guest speakers, as well as being home to our Center for Politics and the People event. Uh, Center for the Politics and the People was started about 10 years ago by the politics professors at the college in an effort to get both students and the broader Ripon community more engaged in politics locally and across the entire country. Our professors have a lot of great connections both in Madison and Washington, D.C. So we get a lot of really high profile speakers on campus that you might not expect to see on a campus of our size. So even just last year, we hosted one of the largest national security conferences in the world. We had ambassadors from 15 or so different countries and an ex-governor of Wisconsin. And even just in the past few years, we've had Newt Gingrich on campus come and speak, and Michael Flynn as well. So like I said, some pretty high profile names that you probably wouldn't expect at a school of our size. Next, we have Smith Hall, which was originally called Middle Hall. This basically houses most of the operations of the college, so things like our financial aid office, our business office, advancement and alumni office. Students generally don't spend too much time here during the school year at least, but it does present a nice opportunity for student employment. For example, if a student is, let's say, a business major, they could get the experience of working in our business office over the summer, basically seeing the inner workings of what is essentially a large nonprofit organization. Speaking of on-campus jobs, there's generally over 400 or 500 jobs on campus during the academic year, so almost any student that wants to work will be able to find a job doing something, and most of the time it can even be something that pertains directly to their career or this field that they're studying at the time. The last kind of academic or classroom building that we'll look at is West Hall, which is our oldest building on campus. It was originally also a residence hall, but now it's home to our English department as well as world languages and military science and ROTC. So, in terms of languages, we offer English, Spanish, French, and classical studies, which is Latin and Greek. There's also occasionally Italian classes taught, and some of those courses are offered at the introductory level. So, even if you don't necessarily know Italian coming to Ripon, you can kind of jump in at that basic level. Also on the main level of this building is the Ripon College Museum. Next, we come to Lane Library, which is our campus library. Um, to give you an idea kind of the layout of the building, the main floor is designed to be an active study space. There's, like nice comfy chairs everywhere. It's very much meant to be a place that you can hang out with your friends or work on group projects, whatever it may be. So you can talk at a normal volume there. There's then 3 floors below that and 2 subfloors that are all silent study spaces. So basically like no talking, listening to music, just entirely silent. There's also silent study rooms that can be reserved. So we really want to make sure that this building meets whatever the study needs of our students may be. In addition to all of the physical resources within the building, we have access to over 40 databases and 100,000 plus ebooks. So you will never have a problem finding any sources that you need for whatever project or paper you might be working on. And additionally, to help with that, we have 3 full-time librarians who are basically just there to help students and faculty do research on whatever it may be that they're doing. At the back of the first floor of the library is the Franzine Center for Academic Success. This basically handles all of our tutoring on campus. There's 3 different kinds of tutoring, but it's important to point out that all of these kinds of tutoring are entirely free. So to go through them briefly, on the far side of this room and where I actually work is our quantitative drop-in tutoring. So every Sunday through Thursday from 6 to 10 p.m., there's at least one student mentor there. And we're basically there to help with any kind of class that involves numbers. So whether it's math, science, economics, whatever it may be, we're there to help. The nice thing about this being drop-in is that there's no kind of, requirement to make this a regularly scheduled thing. We have some students that stop in maybe one time a semester because they just want a little help or somebody to review one of their calc problems. We have other students that come in, maybe missed a couple days of class and just want somebody to go over the lectures with. So really meets the needs of our students, whatever they may be. In this middle section right here in these back rooms is where a lot of our contracted tutoring takes place. So contracted tutoring, basically any time in the semester you can request a tutor for almost any course on campus. You'll be paired up with somebody who's taken the course before, got a B+ or higher, and was recommended by the professor. And as part of your contract, you basically agree to meet with them for at least 2 hours a week. And they're basically your personal study aid. So whether it's test prep, going over homework, going over lecture, whatever it is to help you succeed, they're there to help you with that. This is extremely popular with our students. We've already had over 350 requests for contracted tutoring this semester alone, which, given a population of only around 800 students on campus, goes to show that really, everybody is doing this basically. Uh, the final kind of tutoring that we offer down at this near end here in this picture is our drop-in writing and presentation tutoring, which is pretty self-explanatory, but basically you can bring into them any paper or presentation you have, and you will get to sit down one-on-one with a mentor and basically work through it with them, and they'll just give you suggestions for how to improve it. One of the great things, especially for our freshman students, is that a lot of professors will actually give you extra credit just for taking a paper here, which is obviously an excellent opportunity that you should take advantage of. Additionally, as I mentioned, there's these rooms at the back of the room right here that can basically be reserved at any time by any student, whether it's for group studying, tutoring, even for job interviews. These are great kind of quiet rooms that are off from the main part of the library that help facilitate some of those other kinds of studying. Additionally, in the lower level of the library, there's a large computer lab with about 50 computers that are available for student use anytime that the library is open. So at this point, I'd like to ask if you have any questions about what we've covered so far. In the second half of this tour, we'll move on to cover our main dining hall, some of the residence halls, and then our lower campus facilities. So moving on to our dining facilities, this is the Pickard Commons, which is our main dining hall on campus and kind of our more formal sit-down option when compared to the spot. This is where the majority of our students eat most of their meals each given day. To kind of walk you through the options that we have here, over to this far left hand side, we have our grill station, which usually does like burgers, grilled cheese, fries, kind of those quicker grab and go type options. We also every day have a pizza and pasta bar. Then we have a main line that usually has a few more healthy options, including some vegan and vegetarian options, as well as usually a couple other kinds of proteins, so some chicken and fish usually. Um, Down at our far end, we have our action station where they try and do something fresh every day. So one day it might be stir fry made however you want it. The next day it might be tacos made however you want it. They just try and change it up, make sure that there's something different every day for our students. We also have a huge salad bar each day, our own sandwich and wrap station, which is basically like our own little subway, and all kinds of drink options. There's literally 5 different kinds of milk to choose from and like 4 different kinds of water. So I like to say, the options here truly are endless. Additionally, there are fresh desserts almost every single day as well. In the lower level of the commons, we have our student activities office, which is basically kind of a meeting hub for all of our different student activities and groups. We have at any given time usually at least 60 different student groups on campus, and there's always new ones being formed. These span everything from our investment club to our outdoors club and everything else in between. So there's definitely something that will meet every student's need. And if not, it's very easy to create a new club that meets whatever your need or interest may be. And the student activities office is just a great place for them to get together, whether it's, to have a meeting, design t-shirts, plan their next group meetings, whatever it may be. Also down on this lower level, we have the Joyce Lounge, which is a really popular hangout spot for our students. So lots of comfy chairs spread all around. And it's right in the middle of campus, so it's a really convenient place to just stop by after you're done eating, if you have a little bit of time between classes. Finally, we have our Starbucks pictured right here. Basically the same as any Starbucks out in the real world. The main difference is just that you use your student ID to swipe for coffee here, but obviously a very popular place with our students. Usually if you come here right before 8 a.m. classes, there's literally a line out the door of people just waiting to get coffee. The last thing located in this building is our Center for Career and Professional Development, which is a space really dedicated to our students from the day that they start at Ripon until even after they graduate. So whether you're looking for, a summer job when you go back home and summer internship, or when you start looking for graduate school or a career post-graduation, this center is here to help you. They're always happy to sit down with our students and work on interview skills, go through resumes, CVs, literally whatever it takes to help you get that internship or job that you're looking forward to. They also do a great job of bringing in different employers and graduate schools onto campus throughout the year, so that some students are able to quite literally just hand someone a resume on their way to lunch and literally later in the day have a job or internship for the summer. This center was actually really helpful for me this past summer. I spent in Fargo, North Dakota at the U.S. Department of Agriculture doing an internship, and I don't think I would have been able to do that without some of the interview prep and help with the resume that this center gave me. So next, we'll move on and take a bit of a look at some of our different dorms. So starting out, we have tri-dorms, which is home to a majority of our first-year female students. This dorm has all double rooms and suites. So pictured on the top right here is a suite. You basically have a large shared common room and then two smaller bedrooms off to the side. So this is you and three other individuals living together. But it's a nice option for students in that you have more roommates and also you have a little bit more room to work with. So a lot of people will set up that common room as kind of like a study area or a lounge area. You can put couches and futons out there, so kind of make it a nice little home for you and your roommates. Double room, of course, is just you and one other roommate living together. Next, we have Johnson Hall, which houses our three campus sororities and mostly upperclassmen female students, but also sometimes a few freshman female students. In terms of Greek life on campus, we have three sororities and five fraternities. All of those groups still live within the dorms, so they're very much part of our community. And they do a lot of great philanthropy and volunteer work within the town of Ripon and also for their respective philanthropic organizations. All in all, about 30 or so percent of the students on campus are involved in Greek life. But like I said, it's still very much integrated and part of the overall community of the college. Next, we have Scott Hall, which is actually our largest residence hall on campus. It's kind of split into four unique areas, but it mostly houses first year male students as well as some upperclassmen male and female students. This building as well is also divided into double rooms and suites, but the suites are pretty much all reserved for our freshman students to use. Um, One of the nice things about all of our dorm rooms is that you can rent things like futons or lofts from your bed from the college, as well as things like microwaves and fridges. So a lot of our families that come from a little bit further away, like myself, it can be nice to not worry about having to carry back and forth from home, a microwave or a fridge each year. Also, we offer in-dorm storage. So again, this is especially nice for some of our students who live further away, but really any student. If you have, a bunch of winter clothes that there's no point bringing home, you can just leave them in the dorm over the summer. They'll be locked up, and then when you come back in the fall, you can just pick it up whenever it's convenient for you and just take it up to your room. Additionally, all of our dorms have a laundry room, a kitchen, and lounges in them for socializing and studying. So we really try and make these places feel like home for our students. Next, we have the quads, which is kind of halfway between upper and lower campus. So this is four buildings kind of spread out in a circle. They all look pretty much identical. The quads actually houses all of our fraternities within these dorms. And outside, there's a nice big common green area that has a big sand volleyball court in it and a few grills. So during the warmer months of the year, this is a great place, especially for our upperclassmen students to hang out. In this top building pictured right here, Beauvais Hall, we also have two great locations for student organizations to host campus events such as concerts, and there's also a nice game room in this building, in addition to all the study areas as well. To briefly cover roommate assignments, one of the nice things that we do at Ripon is that there's no random roommate assignments for freshmen. So the summer before your freshman year, we'll send you a brief survey, just a couple pages long, asking, what you're interested in studying and what clubs you might be interested in joining, and then some more important things like, what time you like to go to bed and what conditions you need for studying. So if you say, for example, I want to stay up until 3 in the morning every night and sleep until noon, we're not going to pair you up with somebody on the swim team who has practice at 6 a.m., for example. So we find that by doing that, we can mitigate a lot of those potential roommate conflicts that seem to happen at college, and we can stop them before they even happen. So the last dorm building that we'll look at is the campus apartments. So one of the really important things about the whole Ripon experience is that we are a residential campus. So 94% of our students live on campus all 4 years. And the campus apartments is kind of meant to give some of our older students a bit of a transition period to what it's like living out in the real world. So in these dorms, you have 4 separate rooms all connected to a shared common space. That common space has a kitchen, bathroom, shower, and kind of just a big living room. So you still get to live with your friends, but there's a little bit more responsibility. You have to clean up after yourself, and you have a reduced meal plan. So there is the expectation that you'll do at least some cooking for yourself. So, like I said, a nice opportunity to kind of easily transition into what life in the real world after Ripon will be like. So next, we're going to head down to our lower campus and look at the Willmore Center, which is our athletics facilities, and then the Rodman Center, which is for our fine arts. So when I started at Ripon back in 2016, the Willmore Center is actually called the Storzer Center. Between my freshman and sophomore year, it underwent a $23 million renovation to become the Willmore Center. And we'll get a chance to look at some of those renovations in a minute. But this has really become the home for our exercise science majors, including athletic training and physical education, as well as coaching, strength and conditioning, and pre-physical therapy. So this is an absolutely incredible building now, both in terms of the opportunities it offers in athletics and also the academics that take place down there. So the main addition that was put onto the building in that $23 million renovation was a 65,000 square foot indoor field house pictured right here. It has a 6-lane, 200-meter NCAA regulation track, 4 full-size basketball / indoor soccer / tennis courts, facilities for long jump, high jump, and pole vault, as well as batting cages. So this is very much meant to be a multi-purpose facility. There are all these nets that drop down from the ceiling right here that kind of section everything off so that you can have people out on the track running while at the same time, you have the tennis team maybe using some of the courts on the inside, maybe some students just playing pickup basketball. So, like I said, very much a multi-purpose facility. We also have a cardio balcony pictured right here in a weightlifting area. One of the main goals when we renovated this building was to make it accessible to everybody. So we more than doubled all of our workout and lifting equipment just to make sure that, there's more than enough for our athletes and, general community members and students to all use this at the same time. Additionally, we added some of these fitness classrooms right here. So there are 3 of these spread out around the top of the building. There's classes scheduled for throughout the week. So things like spin class, Zumba, whatever it may be. Those classes are all free for students, but anytime that these rooms aren't being used for a class, any student can go in there and pull up workouts on YouTube or any other program that they want to. There's big TVs in the front of each room. Additionally, as part of the renovations, we redid all of our basketball courts. So we have a nice brand new performance gym. And our men's team actually made it to the NCAA national tournament this year and also 3 years ago. So we're very proud of them for those accomplishments. Finally, we have the Rodman Center for the Performing Arts. This building is basically divided into 3 separate parts. There's 1/3 that is all of our music, another third that's our theater, and then a final third that is basically art and art history. So the music part of this mainly consists of Demer Recital Hall pictured right here. This was actually just renovated last winter. So basically everything you can see in here was put in pretty much brand new. In terms of bands, we offer an orchestra, a wind ensemble, and a jazz band. And there's also a choir and chamber singers, so 2 different choral options. And this is their main rehearsal and performance space right here, which I can tell you from my experience being in wind ensemble 4 years, it's an absolutely incredible place to play music. Additionally, throughout the year, we bring in all kinds of visiting performers from across the entire country to put on concerts for our students for free. Um, on the theater side of things, we have the Benstead Theater, which is a black box theater. We usually do 4 student run productions per year, and students can be involved in all different kinds of aspects, whether it's acting, costumes, makeup, lighting, whatever it may be. There's always opportunities for students to be involved, whether they are a major, minor, or just it's something that they want to participate in. Then we have our art department. So we offer drawing, painting, and ceramics, broadly speaking, and we have specific studios for each of those. Those classes are open to basically any student. You don't need to be a major or minor to participate in them. And also we have a gallery that we rotate through several visiting professional artists throughout the year, kind of showcasing their work for our students and community members to enjoy. Once again, thank you so much for joining us today. That concludes our tour of campus, and I'll be happy to stick around and answer any questions that you might have about your visit today. And we hope to see you sometime soon as our campus is able to reopen. Thank you.